Hello everyone, welcome to our weekly cybersecurity news roundup. In this video, we'll be discussing the latest updates on the biggest cybersecurity incidents, data breaches, and emerging threats from the past week. From ransomware attacks to vulnerability disclosures, we've got you covered with all the important news and analysis you need to stay informed and protected. So sit back and let's dive into the world of cybersecurity. New Wi-Fi protocol security flaw affecting Linux, Android and iOS devices. A group of researchers from Northeastern University and KU Leuven have discovered a major design flaw in the IEEE 802.11 Wi-Fi protocol standard. This flaw can impact a wide range of devices running Linux, FreeBSD, Android and iOS, leaving them vulnerable to hijacked TCP connections and intercepted web traffic. How did this happen? So by exploiting the power-saving mechanisms in endpoint devices, an attacker can trick access points into leaking data frames in plain text or encrypt them using an all-zero key. Even more concerning, an attacker can override a client's security context to receive packets intended for the victim. But don't worry, there are other ways to reduce the probability of such attacks, such as implementing TLS, Transport Security Layer, to encrypt data in transit and applying policy enforcement mechanism to restrict network access. Are you using the Elementor Pro website builder plugin for your WordPress site? If so, be warned that the unknown attackers are actively exploiting a recently patched security vulnerability in version 3.11.6 and earlier, which was fixed by the plugin maintainers in version 3.11.7, released on March 22. This vulnerability, described as a case of broken access control, allows authenticated users to complete a takeover of a WordPress site that has WooCommerce enabled, potentially turning on the registration page, setting the default user role to administrator, and creating an account that instantly has administrator privileges. After this, attackers can redirect the site to another malicious domain, upload a malicious plugin or backdoor, or exploit the site further. According to the advisory, the flaw is currently being abused in the wild from several IP addresses intending to upload arbitrary PHP and zip archive files. Over 12 million websites are estimated to use the Elementor Pro plugin. It is recommended that the users of the Elementor Pro plugin update to this latest version as soon as possible to mitigate potential threat. Last week, WordPress issued auto updates to remediate another critical bug in the WooCommerce Payments plugin that allowed unauthenticated attackers to gain administrated access to vulnerable sites. ClatKey, Realtek, and IBM Aspera Fastpac's vulnerabilities under active exploitation. These two CVEs have been exploited to deliver botnets such as MoveBot and ShellBot, capable of carrying out distributed denial of service attacks and executing arbitrary code. Meanwhile, the YAML deserialization issue in IBM's Aspera Fastpac's file exchange application has been used in ransomware campaign associated with Bugatti and Icefire since February. Fortinet FortiGuard Labs, a cybersecurity firm, has reported that compromised victims can be controlled and used as DDoS bots after receiving a command from a C2 server. MoveBot, for example, can kill other botnet processes and deploy brute force attacks, which can be a real danger for unpatched systems. The researchers have also found that the ShellBot payloads have been observed since January 23, with at least 3 different variants detected. If you are using any of these software updates, it is recommended to apply the latest patches as soon as possible to mitigate any potential threats. Microsoft has recently patched a misconfiguration issue in the Azure Active Directory Identity and Access Management service that exports several high-impact applications to unauthorized access. A cloud security firm named Wiz reported this issue to Microsoft in January and February 2022, following which the tech giant applied fixes and awarded Wiz a $40,000 bug bounty. The vulnerability allowed external parties to obtain read and write access to affected applications, including Microsoft's internal apps like the Bing Trivia app. Cybersecurity firm Wiz was able to exploit the Bing Trivia app to alter search results on Bing and even manipulate content on the home page as a part of an attack chain called Bing Bang. The vulnerability could have also been weaponized to trigger a cross-site scripting attack on Bing.com and extract a victim's Outlook emails, calendars, Teams messages, SharePoint documents, and OneDrive files. Other Microsoft-owned apps that were found susceptible to the misconfiguration issue include Mac News, Contact Center, PolyCheck, Power Automate Blog, and Cosmos. Microsoft has found no evidence that the misconfiguration were exploited in the wild. This news is a serious reminder of the importance of security and the need to constantly update and improve systems to prevent unauthorized access. The vulnerability exposed by Wiz could have led to high-impact cross-site scripting attacks on Bing users and compromised users' personal data, including Outlook emails and SharePoint documents. It highlights the need for constant vigilance in the face of evolving cyber threats. 3CX supply chain attack. Enterprise communications software maker 3CX has recently confirmed that multiple versions of its desktop app for Windows and Mac OS have been affected by a supply chain attack. In a blog post, 3CX CEO Nick Gallier shared that the affected versions of the app for Windows and Mac OS. The issue has been assigned the CVE identifier CVE 2023-29059. To address the issue, 3CX has engaged the services of Mandiant, a cybersecurity firm owned by Google, to review the incident. In the meantime, the company is urging its customers to update to the latest version. According to telemetry data shared by Fortinet, the victim machines calling out to unknown actor-controlled infrastructure are mostly located in Italy, Germany, Austria, the US, South Africa, Australia, Switzerland, the Netherlands, Canada, and the UK. The attack leveraged a technique called DLL sideloading to load a rogue library referred to as ffmpeg.dll that's designed to read encrypted shell code from another DLL called d3d-compiler_47.dll. British cybersecurity vendor Sophos pointed out that the shellcode utilized in the attack is a byte-to-byte match to prior samples seen in incidents exclusively attributed to the Lazarus group. CrowdStrike, in an advisory of its own, has attributed the attack with high confidence to Labyrinth, a North Korea-aligned state-sponsored actor. The Trojanized 3CX applications invoke a variant of ArcFeed Loader, a malware uniquely attributed to Labyrinth. In response to the attack, 3CX has updated its software and is making new MSI installers with a new certificate and a new build server. However, Google is currently prohibiting downloads of the MSI installer files through its Chrome web browser. 3CX is encouraging its customers to use the web app version instead. The scale of the attack is currently unknown, but 3CX is taking steps to address the issue and protect its customers. New Mac Stealer macOS malware steals iCloud keychain data and passwords. There's a new malware targeting Macs, and it's called Mac Stealer. Mac Stealer is an information stealing malware that's designed to steal sensitive information from compromised devices running macOS, Catalina, and later versions, powered by M1 and M2 CPUs. According to researchers, MaxStealer has the ability to steal documents, cookies from the victim's browser, and login information. The malware was first advertised on online hacking forums for $100 at the start of the month and is still a work in progress. The malware authors plan to add features to capture data from Apple's Safari browser and the Notes app. The exact method used to deliver the malware is not known, but it's propagated as a DMG file that, when executed, opens a fake password prompt to harvest the password under the guise of seeking access to the system's setting app. MaxStealer is designed to extract iCloud keychain data, passwords, and credit card information from browsers like Google Chrome, Firefox, and Brave. It also features support for harvesting Microsoft Office files, images, archives, and Python scripts. MaxStealer is one of the several info stealers that have surfaced in recent months, and it adds to an already larger number of similar tools currently in the wild. This includes another piece of new C# based malware called Hook Spoofer and Ducktail, which also uses a Telegram bot to exfiltrate data. To mitigate such threats, it's recommended that the users keep their OS and security software up to date and avoid downloading files or clicking links from unknown resources. In a recent report, Trend Micro revealed that MaxStealer's source code has been leaked via an online public scanning service. Cybercriminals behind the social engineering campaign abused Twitter's new paid verification requirements to obtain a blue verified badge, providing an illusion of legitimacy to distribute the rogue apps. Google finds more Android iOS 0 days used to install spyware. A recent attack was targeted on iOS and Android users using 0-day and end-day vulnerabilities to install spyware and malicious app on their devices. The Google Threat Analysis Group, TAG, discovered the attack, which used separate exploit chains to target iOS and Android devices. The attackers used text messages with shortened links to redirect victims to legitimate shipment websites in Italy, Malaysia, Kazakhstan. But before reaching these sites, the links triggered exploits abusing a 0-day vulnerability in the iOS WebKit, remote code execution, and a sandbox escape bug. On compromised iOS devices, the attackers were able to track the victim's location and install .ipa files. As a part of the same campaign, an Android exploit chain was also used to attack devices with ARM GPUs. This exploit chain included a Chrome GPU sandbox bypass 0-day, an ARM privilege escalation bug, and a Chrome type confusion bug with an unknown payload. When ARM released a fix for this CVE, several vendors including Pixel, Samsung, Xiaomi, and Oppo and others did not incorporate the patch, resulting in a situation where attackers were able to freely exploit the bug for several months. A second campaign was also discovered that targeted Samsung Internet browser versions using multiple 0-day and end-day vulnerabilities. The exploit chain targeted a long list of flaws, including several 0-day vulnerabilities. These attacks were discovered thanks to the findings shared by Amnesty International's Security Lab, which also published information regarding the domains and infrastructure used in these attacks. The discovery of these exploit chains is a part of an ongoing effort to track the mercenary spyware market and the 0-day vulnerabilities they are exploiting to install their tools on the vulnerable devices of human rights and political activists, journalists, politicians, and other high-risk users worldwide. It's important to remember that these attacks are highly targeted and the attackers take advantage of the large time gap between the fix release and when it is fully deployed on end-user devices. France bans TikTok, other fun apps from government devices. The French government has recently made an announcement that it's causing ripples in the tech world. In a move to strengthen its cybersecurity measures, the government plans to ban several popular apps from official devices. These apps include TikTok, Netflix, Instagram, Candy Crush, and Twitter. The decision is expected to affect roughly 2.5 million government officials. According to the Civil Service Minister, recreational apps do not deliver sufficient levels of security, cybersecurity, and data protection to be deployed on administration's digital tool. According to cybersecurity experts, several other recreational apps also gather information from user devices. Even when they don't, they can use bandwidth, take up storage space, or inadvertently cross-post information. Therefore, from a risk perspective, it makes sense to take a holistic approach and restrict any non-work essential apps and services on official phones. Data privacy has always remained a sensitive issue, but now more people are starting to become aware of the intrusive nature of these apps. This decision by the French government comes amid a streak of government worldwide banning TikTok from government devices. However, the French government's decision goes beyond just TikTok, taking a more risk-based approach to restricting apps on official phones. The move will be monitored by the National Cybersecurity Agency of France, and exceptions to the rule may be put in place for institutional communication purposes. So that's it for this week. Thanks for tuning in to this week's Cyber News Update. Don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with the latest developments in the world of online security. And as always, stay safe and stay secure.